Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to complete the second round lineup here at the 2018 Gibraltar Darts Trophy. We introduce to the stage a host nation qualifier. 19 years of age, a former Gibraltar youth representative, making his European Tour debut, Clayton Otton! We now welcome a former PDC World Cup of Darts, European Championship and UK Open champion. He's the two-time champion of the world, Jackpot A.Lewis!
Well, Adrian Lewis clearly still a big draw here in Gibraltar. The last match of the evening session, the last match of the day here at the Gibraltar Darts Trophy, and it pits together the former world champion, the two-time champion of the world, Adrian Lewis, against the host nation qualifier, the youngster Clayton Otton. What an occasion it is for this young man, the former winner of the Gibraltar Youth Championships 3 years ago, a success that earned him the right to take part at the World Youth Championship, although he did withdraw from that particular tournament. But nevertheless, safe to say this is the biggest occasion of his career. A nice way to round off things on day one here in Gibraltar. Rob Malarkey in the chair for this one, alongside Dan Dawson. Surely only one outcome here, Dan.
Well, you say that.
I do say that. It was a question. It was a rhetorical question.
Well, I remain to be convinced of its factual accuracy, because as we know, anybody who can come through the qualifiers for any of these Euro Tour events can throw decent darts, and if Clayton Otton has the game of his life and Adrian Jackpot Lewis has an off day, maybe something could happen here.
Lewis certainly had an off day on his most recent Euro Tour event. That was in Zwolle, where he lost to Jan Decker in the first round. Also lost in the first round at the German Darts Grand Prix this year as well against Jordi Meeuwissen. But Lewis in business already here.
140.
So if he does have an off day, and he has had off days before on the European Tour this year, then yes, there is the possibility. But by the same token, you feel that Otton has to play some pretty good darts to negotiate this particular hurdle.
Yeah,
kicked off with 22.
That's not the start that Clayton would have wanted. I remember Clayton playing in the Gibraltar Youth Final a few years back, which got him into the World Youth, but
140.
Obviously he couldn't attend. That's a much better response from Clayton. He's going to get his fair share of support here at the Victoria Stadium.
140.
And he's been lending his support to the other host nation qualifiers throughout the evening session as well. He was in the crowd for Lopez's match against Paul Nicholson.
99.
I think he then returned to the practice room to get ready for this one when Dawkins was on the stage.
Game shot on the first leg, Adrian Lewis.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first dart was poor, but the next two were perfect. It's a 12-dart opening salvo from Jackpot, and if Clayton was banking on Adrian Lewis having an off day, the early signs suggest he's not going to be having one. He has slowed down a lot, and Adrian was talking about this the other day in an interview online. That he says this is a conscious thing that he's done. He's decided that he felt he wasn't putting enough focus into each dart, each visit. He just wanted to slow things down and just make sure that every dart gets the same level of care and attention. Now, the theory is sound, but sometimes, you know, when Adrian Lewis was winning major titles, it wasn't very long ago,
100.
and he's still undoubtedly one of the best players in the game. I think it's a bit of a false ranking that he's got in the world, down around the 20 mark.
140.
I just think that at his very best, he just has that natural flow and rhythm when he just seems to just, as I say, flow through the game. It's just very liquid, and he rattles off leg after leg after leg. And he's still absolutely world class playing at this slightly slower pace, although this isn't as slow as he has been playing at times.
And I was just going to make the point about pace as well. We'll just see if Otton can take this out, which he can't. It would have been nice if he had.
83.
But his conscious decision to just slow things down a little bit. Well, he went for the ball with Otton on 64.
Now then, Clayton. 16.
Yeah, just think about it. Oh, he's missed the big number.
25.
And he can't afford to do things like that against a two-time champion of the world, because Adrian Lewis has 2 darts at 8-8 for a 2-0 lead, and that is punishment, brutal punishment from Adrian Lewis. Otton just, well, I say taking his eyes off the prize. I think he may have thought about it too long. I don't know why he was thinking so much and taking so much time over that.
I'm not even sure what his last dart was supposed to be at. I mean,
he was left with 56, wasn't he?
So, yeah, and he hit the 7, leave 49, and then he's hit 10. Now, if it was for the 6, it would have left 43. If it was for the 15, it would have left 34. So I think he's just
60.
Just had a complete meltdown. Maybe he thought he'd left 39, and 15 would have left double 12. But still, look, maybe that is just an indication that Clayton Otton, this young man, is playing the biggest game of his life against the legend of the game, and it's a little bit much, but I mean, he looks up for it.
Anyway, the point I was going to make about Adrian Lewis and slowing things down, would he have had the opportunity to do that to an extent when playing Ricky Evans as he did in the first round of qualifying for this, for example? If he's up against a fast player, does that sort of lend, well, conscious as though you may be of playing slower, suddenly you may just fall into the habit of quickening things up because your opponent's doing likewise?
You can do. You can fall into other people's speeds, but Adrian is a guy who sometimes he's consciously slowed himself down. I remember when Michael van Gerwen was establishing himself at the top of world darts, and Adrian, he had some fantastic battles.
100.
World Championships. The monkey has changed allegiances again. Fickle ape that he is. But he deliberately slowed down to try and force Van Gerwen to knock him out of his rhythm. Oh, look at this. Magnificent.
This little reminder of his class and his capabilities there. Little acknowledgement of the crowd as well.
But we saw Adrian Lewis, he played Michael Smith in a Pro Tour final. Adrian made back-to-back finals over a weekend. He lost them both, one to Mickey Mansell, who's a very slow player, and one to Michael Smith, who's a very quick player. And in both cases, he was still in that sort of very methodical Adrian Lewis mode. Obviously, it didn't work out in either because he lost them both, but Michael Smith played fantastic, as did Mickey Mansell. Mickey Mansell was absolutely deadly, particularly on double top that day, as the Northern Irishman claimed his first ever PDC title in a decade of trying. Clayton is the champ, understandably, here in Gibraltar.
Having accounted for Ricky Evans in qualifying, he then blew away Josh Payne 6-0. Payne, of course, a recent winner on the Pro Tour as well. So that's a result that deserves to have that little caveat attached to it, given the fact that Payne has been successful of late. As for Otton, well, his campaign in qualifying was last night, just in Gibraltar, World Cup player, 6-5, came through that. George Ramos,
60.
No relation to Sergio, I'd have thought, 6-1 in the second round of qualifying to book his place here this weekend. But so far, one-way traffic. Adrian Lewis going well, not under any pressure, it seems, leading 3-0. The reward here for Lewis, should he get through, is a meeting with Mentor Sulovic, so that would be very much in keeping with the much slowed down, deaccelerated Adrian Lewis.
Yeah, well, Adrian Lewis, I think it's only a matter of time before he wins something again. And that may be a Pro Tour, maybe a Euro Tour, maybe one of the big ones. Look at this, it's going to go, isn't it? Ooh, I thought it was, and so did Adrian.
Well, he's reached 2 finals and 2 quarters since the start of April. And I think you're right, Dan. I think it is only a matter of time.
Oh, now then.
97.
Well, it's his first start at double in this match. Clayton Otton wasn't a million miles away, but this leg might be taken away from him because Adrian Lewis on form is one of the greatest double top hitters in the game. It's not a great leg from Adrian, but it is another one in the bag. You look at his performances in the Players' Championship series of events, Adrian Lewis, 96.5 is his typical average.
93.
Only 4 players have a higher average than him over those entire series of events. When it comes to 180s, only Gary Anderson has hit more than him.
45.
And in terms of how frequently he is hitting 180s, then there are other players who are ahead of him, but he's still right up there with Gary Anderson in terms of the frequency that he's hitting 180s. He is right up there in all of the statistical analyses of how well players are playing and the Pro Tour stuff. And I think it is just going to be a case of when Adrian Lewis returns to the winner's circle.
And there you see that average there, just below that 96 mark. Maybe thereabouts again, I think, today.
And this is without scoring properly, is it?
It'll be more than enough against Otton, who is really struggling for numbers, and more points on the floor for the young man as well.
But this is a young man at the start of his darts career. You know, this is just great experience for him. You know, there's still a chance. There's still a chance that we could see a miracle victory for Clayton. He's racing around the stage.
Yeah, clearly wants to get on with this, doesn't he? And clearly
100.
wants to return to the hockey and try and prove a point. He might just be trying a bit too hard at times, which is an easy trap to fall into.
140.
Adrian Lewis yet to make the final day of a European Tour event this year.
30.
1 game at a time for Adrian Lewis.
Well, this is a section of the draw with not only Mentor Sulovic, one leg away, 5-0 for Adrian Lewis, but James Wade, a former champion here, Peter Snakebite Wright, such a consistent performer on the European Tour, Mervyn King, a former Euro Tour winner, Chris Doby, we've just seen put in a good display, Michael Barnard, who's playing excellently and kicked things off this weekend with the first match this afternoon. I mean, there are some serious players. Ross Smith's in there as well. Ross Smith was pretty impressive. And when he overcame Jamie Lewis, who still averaged 97 against him. So all of those players are either proven world-class quality or have been playing some very, very good darts of late or today. This looks at a nightmarish section of the draw to try and predict. But, you know, well, I mean, who do you think comes through out of it? I mean, just in this tiny little section of the draw, you've got Mensah, potentially Adrian, James Wade. There's 3 there. Only one of those can make it through to the quarterfinals. I mean, that is brutal. And that's what the Euro Tour does. Throws up some fascinating games, even very early on in the piece.
85.
Now, can Clayton Otton get a leg? That helps him.
Lewis just having a look there as well. It does help him. But he's averaging only 71 at the moment. He needs to find the big treble here. Switches to the bullseye.
I don't understand that shot, I have to say. I don't think he gains anything by getting the extra 5 points for the 25 when he could have gone for a treble and made things a lot easier.
Chances there, take it.
28.
Even if he'd hit the bullseye there, it'd be on 98, which is a 2-darter, but it's an awkward one. Well, now he's
104. He was left with 104, and he stayed on the 19s.
So Kirk Bevan's just casting a sideways look at the score there, but I think that probably is just, it must be a maths failing from Clayton rather than something wrong there. But he is going to come back and have a look at 80 here.
Well, this will be a nice moment for him if he can take it out. Well, he's done the easy bit.
40. Adrian requires 75.
But he can't find tops. Adrian Lewis has been finding tops at will so far tonight. 58 away, tops away again for Lewis for 6-0. Not to be. Get ready for this, Dan.
Oh no, Clayton, double 16.
8 score.
Bit hurried. A little bit hurried there from Clayton Otton. Messy first start. Messy stuff here from Lewis as well. Yeah, he's splitting this. Double 4.
Game shot and the match.
Mission
Adrian
accomplished
Lewis.
for Adrian Lewis. It's another 6-0 scoreline on the first day of the Gibraltar Darts Trophy, and perhaps the least surprising of the lot, because Adrian Lewis, the two-time world champion, has safely come through his opening match here in Gibraltar against the young man Clayton Otton, and it means there will be no host nation qualifiers involved in the final 2 days of this tournament. But what an occasion for this young man, and I'm sure he'll take plenty from this, and a nice exchange of handshakes and words with Adrian Lewis at the end of that one as well. And we hope to see that young man again someday. We will certainly see Adrian Lewis tomorrow in second round action against Mensur Suljovic when the 16 seeds join the fun here at the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. The world #1 Michael van Gerwen will be here as well, so too the defending champion Michael Smith. We're back with you tomorrow from 1 o'clock. Let's have a quick word with Adrian Lewis before we go.
You know, yeah, it's nice to be back here. I haven't been here for, I think it's 5 years now, so to be back is a privilege, yeah.
Obviously, having to come through these to qualify for these now, it's coming in at the first round rather than as a seeded player. And I mean, you're in a real tough section of the draw. Mensur's in there, James Wade's in there, Peter Wright, Mervyn King, all in your same quarter. These are tough tournaments.
Yeah, I'm not bad myself, though, you know what I mean? So it's one of them things, you know, I've got to deal with it. You know, you're saying all these names, but I'm not bad myself. I haven't won 2 world titles for nothing, you know.
And we've already seen you this year. You are playing. I mean, it feels like a matter of when, not if you're going to pick up another title.
Very consistent on the floor. I've got to take that game onto the stage, which now, you know, hopefully it's coming. I've been putting the work in, putting the hours in. There's no reason I can't win these majors again. I feel hungry again, you know what I mean? I'm enjoying it. Missing the Premier League's probably been the best thing there. I think Barry's done a fantastic job in leaving me out this year, I think.
World-class player, hungry for titles, Adrian Lewis, jackpot, two-time world champion, will take on Mensur Suljovic in the second round of the Gibraltar Darts Trophy tomorrow.
Our thanks once again to Dan Dawson for all the interviews today. Yes, congratulations once again to Jackpot as he leaves the stage. He's going to be joining us tomorrow for the second round. But are you? Who's coming back tomorrow? Well, we hope that each and every one of you do, because what a lineup we have. A whole fleet of Premier League stars. Gerwyn Price, Simon Whitlock, Mensur Suljovic, Daryl Gurney, Rob Cross, the world champion, Snakebite, Peter Wright, former Gibraltar Darts Trophy champion James Wade, the reigning Gibraltar Darts Trophy champion Michael Smith, and mighty Michael van Gerwen. And Adam Huckvale, yes. It's been a pleasure here. The crowds have grown and grown as the day's gone on. Brilliant atmosphere you provided, so we hope we see you all back again tomorrow. From everybody involved with the Professional Darts Corporation, PDC Europe this evening, it's a very good evening. We see you at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Hi ho!